Well, welcome everybody. We're happy to have you here. My name is Kelsey Rettke. I'm the editor of the Daily Chronicle. I'm here with our candidates for DeKalb County Circuit Clerk's office. We're going to give them a chance to introduce themselves. So you guys each get 2 minutes. Tell us who you are, which party affiliation you're with, and why you're running. And we'll start with Rukisha.
Well, thank you for the opportunity for tonight to come on and introduce myself. My name is Rukisha Crawford. I was born and raised in Chicago and have a master's degree, 2 master's degrees, one in education, one in literacy. And my undergrad is in early childhood education, which is my foundation and passion. I've been a resident of DeKalb County for over 20 years. I've raised my son, and he's also a college graduate. 2021, he will be graduating as well. And I just like to thank you for the opportunity to get on here and share some of my explorations and why I'm running for DeKalb County Circuit Clerk.
We're happy to have you. And Lori, go ahead.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the Daily Chronicle and Kelsey for organizing this event tonight. My name is Lori Grubbs. I'm on the Republican ticket, and I'm running to become the next circuit clerk for DeKalb County. I'm a lifelong resident of DeKalb. I was born and raised in DeKalb, graduated from DeKalb High School, received my associate's degree from Kishwaukee College. I currently live in Sycamore with my husband and my 2 children. I've worked at the DeKalb County Circuit Clerk's office for the past 25 years. I've been the supervisor of the Civil Division for over 15 years. The role of the circuit clerk is to establish, maintain, and keep the court record. Over the past 25 years, I've had many responsibilities within the circuit clerk's office. I first started in the file room, filing cases back, and also proofing microfilm. After being deputized, I became a court clerk. I clerked in civil courtrooms and on jury trials. I've also worked at the front counter, assisting attorneys and self-represented litigants file new cases and file documents into existing cases. I currently work closely with the appellate court on e-appeals. I've been part of a team that has implemented the e-filing before it was mandatory in 2014. In 2018, it became mandatory that we had to go through a system called Odyssey, also known as Tyler, and I was a crucial part of that. I also was very involved with the online order of protection that we implemented in 2010. I've worked closely with safe passage victims and the respondents in those order protection cases. My goal as the next DeKalb County Circuit Clerk is to continue the strong tradition of public service, transparency, and access to justice for all who use the courts. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Lori. I'm happy to have you both here with us. So first question, obviously COVID-19 is the headline of the year, right? And in fact, today, I don't know if you guys have seen, the Illinois Department of Public Health handed down some additional mitigations for our health region, which does include, Winnebago County, which has a higher positivity rate currently than DeKalb County, but we're all in the same region, and so beginning Saturday, there will be some additional mitigations to limit that spread. So, obviously, and you mentioned this, Lori, one of the big things with the circuit clerk's office is keeping a record, notifying people who are facing charges of their court dates. A lot of changes, have happened in the last couple of months in the court system just to try and slow the amount of people coming in there. In your guys' opinion, and we'll go with Lori with this question first. In your opinion, Lori, especially with everything that's happening this year, what's the biggest challenge that the circuit clerk's office is facing, and what do you propose as a solution?
About COVID-19, that is definitely the biggest issue that the circuit clerk's office is facing. Not just our office, but the courthouse. I have taken a leadership role starting back in March. I met with department heads on how to handle the cases because the courthouse was closed for a few months, only open for emergency cases only. We had to work on rescheduling a few times. And then when we did reopen the courthouse for all cases, we had to do a lot of changes. We had to stagger the cases so that there were X amount of people per courtroom. We've also transitioned from court appearances to Zoom calls. Some judges prefer the phone conference as well. So there's a lot of changes that have happened since COVID-19, and we're still dealing with them. But I believe that the circuit clerk's office has definitely stepped up to the plate and definitely has taken a leadership role, myself included on that.
All right, and Rukisha, same question to you. In your opinion, what's the biggest challenge facing the circuit clerk's office this year, and what are your proposed solutions?
Well, it's kind of, if you guys hear on my end, but it's kind of choppy with the questions and
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
answers, so it's not really clear.
I'm fine.
Do you want me, I can repeat the question, is that okay? And maybe while you guys are talking, I'm gonna try and stop my video so that way it might help the feed a little bit. All right, so to repeat the question, Rukisha, and I'm so sorry about the technology, so please let me know if you can hear. So in your opinion, what is the biggest challenge that's facing the circuit clerk's office, especially this year as it relates to 2020, and you know, limiting the amount of people that are coming and going inside of the courthouse? What's the biggest challenge in the office, and what are your proposed solutions?
Well, one of the biggest challenge that I'm seeing or hearing about, I work on the county board as well, and I work on the Health and Human Service as well. I serve on that board, and I'm hearing that the plan is still in process of learning about how to incorporate also where the clerks are safe and the residents that are coming in for the courthouse are safe as well. So it's my understanding that there's still a process or plan in process, and that's one of my biggest concerns, making sure that that plan is in place before that pandemic hits us bigger come this October and November, right after the holidays and right after the other changes. So my concern is making sure that we have a awesome plan for our community residents that where they can stay safe in and outside of the courthouse.
And sort of piggybacking off of that, Rukisha, you know, I think a lot of what we've seen thus far, you know, what is this, like month 7 of the pandemic, locally, a lot of that is sort of ruled by the state, right? So, you know, we do have some local control, local leaders have some control over certain things, but a lot of it is really regulated by the health department, the state health department, the governor. In your opinion, do you think that there are any additional measures that could be taken at the courthouse to you know, address health and safety? And if so, what would those be?
Could you repeat that because it's still choppy?
Sure,
and
I'm
then
so sorry.
I'm
I'm
not
so
sure if you
sorry.
can, it's still choppy.
I'm sorry. So do you think, especially in light of, you know, obviously, like I was saying, a lot of the decisions that are made regarding the health and safety these days come from the state, come from the governor. But in your opinion, is there anything additional that can be done in our court system to address health and safety?
So again, the question is still choppy, but what I'm thinking I'm hearing you saying is keeping the courthouse safety with the recommendations set in place with the government. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm so sorry, by the way, for this technology.
Oh my, it's really, really choppy.
All right, let me see. 1 second, you guys.
Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that keeping a safe plan in place where it's supporting the community and the residents is very important with the courthouse. And what the government's challenges is creating plans that fit each county. Depending on the cases in our county, that determines how we should create plans for the circuit clerk as well. Making sure that each clerk is safe is a concern of mine as well.
All right, and what I'm going to do also, you guys, is I'm going to put the question in the chat box, in the Zoom group chat box, and then hopefully that will help, you know, with any choppiness in the video.
Thank you.
I am hearing you very clearly.
Okay.
Can I respond to that question?
Yeah, absolutely,
Kelsey?
absolutely.
Okay. Because I work in the courthouse every day, and I've been in the courthouse every day since the COVID-19 started. I feel very safe. There is definitely a plan in effect, and the DeKalb Health Department has been to the courthouse, and they have given numerous guidelines. In order to get through security, they take your temperature. They're required to have a mask on. The clerk's office definitely has a plan in place. We have plexiglass all around. We monitor how many people are in our office at a time. At one point, there were no children allowed in the courthouse. Now the children are not allowed in our office, but courtrooms, the bailiffs monitor how many people are in a courtroom at a time. Each courtroom, based on size, has a different amount of people allowed in the courtroom. They have moved chairs, they have moved benches, there's hand sanitizer all over. I feel that it's a very safe place to be. And for the people that need to come to court, you can call the clerk's office at any time and request a Zoom conference. Some judges do phone conferences, but the judges are very accommodating at this time.
Awesome. So you sort of mentioned this also, you know, both of you, in terms of you know, the circuit clerk's responsibility, a significant responsibility of the office's record keeping. Do you believe there are any ways to make this more efficient? And if so, what would those be? And I'll go ahead and put this question in the chat box as well, and we'll go with Lori answering this one first.
Well, the role of the circuit clerk's office is clearly defined in the statute. It is a nonpartisan, non-policy making position. The duties of the clerk's office is set forth by the Illinois Supreme Court, the administrative office of the courts, and we also follow the rules, the administrative rules and general orders of the 23rd Judicial Circuit. What was your second part to that question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, in terms of the record keeping, do you believe there are any ways to make that more efficient? And if so, what would that be?
Currently, we're e-filing, and e-filing is definitely the efficient way to go. The civil division is mandated, so we have been e-filing in the civil division. Soon, the traffic and criminal division will be transitioning to the system known as Odyssey Tyler as well, and that will definitely make the office more efficient.
All right, and Rukisha, same question, which I put in the chat box for you. Do you believe that there are any ways to make the record keeping in the clerk's office more efficient?
One way to the circuit clerk's office more efficient is making sure that we have up-to-date electronic data processing system information. When I'm meeting residents in the community, I'm hearing that there are issues within the county clerk where data documentations are locked the correct states, and people are obtaining warrants due to the court date that they have been released are off and accurate with the circuit clerk's office, and make sure that there are no mistakes, no issues where families are being issued warrants because of wrong dates on documentations, and making sure that trustworthy of our clerks, making sure that we're quality and accessing the material and data efficiently. It's my concern for the circuit, and keeping confidence within the circuit clerk, making sure that our records are being kept secret safely as well.
All right, and going off of that, you know, another significant
Kelsey, can I respond to that question?
Sure, go ahead, Lori.
Again, I work in the civil division. I don't work in the traffic and criminal division, but being the supervisor of the civil division, I have not heard that. But what I would like to speak on is the impounded documents that are held in our office. The office that I work in, we handle search warrants, we handle eavesdropping, we handle adoptions, we handle mental health cases. I handle a lot of impounded documents, and we have a system in place. It's a double check system. Private information never out to the public. And we also have in our office text alerts. So people, if they want to know their court date, whether it's in criminal or civil, they can sign up for a text alert or an alert, and they can find out their court date. The other thing about the circuit clerk's office is they can call the clerk's office at any time during the business hours. Somebody always answers the phone and answers questions.
Awesome, and that sort of piggybacks right into my next question that I was going to ask, and we'll have Rukisha answer this one first, and I will put it in the chat box. So another measure that the courthouse has taken during this pandemic has been to limit the amount of people that are booked in the jail. Obviously, if it's a nonviolent offense, they are given an order to appear instead of booked in the jail. You know, I was just at the courthouse a couple weeks ago covering something, and I believe they're now limiting like the amount of people that can go into the courtroom. And I think you touched on this, Lori. You know, if you're going to the courthouse for an appearance, you can't be there more than a certain amount of time ahead of time, so that there's not a ton of people sitting sort of stagnantly inside of the courthouse. Another role of the circuit clerk is to inform people, you know, of their court dates, if they have any responsibilities to meet before those court dates. In light of that, what extra measures, if anything, can or should be taken to ensure that those facing charges continue to be aware of their court dates, or how can you help them receive clarification on attending? And I will put that question in the chat box. Oh, did we lose Rukisha?
I'm still here.
I'm sorry with all this technology, you guys.
It's very clear on my end. I'm thankful.
Oh, I think she's coming back. We'll give her 2 seconds. Yeah, this is not, you know, it's not ideal, but make do with what we can, right?
I'm back. Apologize for the inconvenience.
Oh no, that's okay.
Technical difficulties.
You know, this is the name of the game these days. So I'm just gonna get rid of your other video so that we can.
Right.
So let's try this. Okay, what about now, Rukisha? Can you see us and hear us okay?
But I had a backup. Definitely can, yes.
Perfect. So if you want to use the camera that you're on then, and then that way you can just, if you want to just like hang up or however you're using, oh wait, there we go. Okay. I think it was laggy on my end. All right. So did you hear, you know what, I'll just repeat the question for you. I did put it in the chat box as well if you need to view it that way. So we were talking about extra mitigations that the courthouse has had to take during the pandemic, whether it's to limit people inside of the actual courtrooms, limit people inside of the courthouse in general. You know, a lot of municipalities now are giving orders to appear instead of arresting someone and putting them in jail if it's a nonviolent offense, because they don't want a ton of people in the jail as well. So to piggyback off of that, another big responsibility of the circuit clerk's office is to notify people of when they need to appear in court. In light of the mitigations that, you know, people are taking from this pandemic, do you believe that there's any extra measures that can be done to ensure those facing charges continue to be aware of all their court dates? And if so, what would those be?
Well, yes, definitely making sure that the people have their information in a timely fashion. That's number one, that they won't miss their court date. And so that they will be ready to be on a Zoom meeting, and making sure that the Zoom meeting is ready for the litigation court proceeding. So I guess making sure that that person, individual who's having a court date, has that information in hand, whether it be on an app, whether it be on phone, whether it be an email, so that they can actually be able to click on and not be late to their court date whatsoever. Just making sure that everybody get their try of being able to get on this meeting, and if they're possible with that difficulties in the court system as well.
All right, thank you. And Lori, same question. Do you believe that there's any extra measures that can or should be done to ensure those facing charges are aware of their court dates, especially when people aren't physically present?
I believe all measures have been taken. I think that was part of the beginning when the department had sat down and went over everything. I think all measures have been taken. And you're talking about flexibility. I can speak on behalf of the civil division. The judges are very flexible currently. If somebody calls and they're not able to come, if they're just uncomfortable coming to the court, the judges are giving them continuances. There's a lot of flexibility right now at the courthouse.
All right, thank you. And this next question
and also the website. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that you were talking about the cases being on Zoom. The website for the circuit clerk's office has a direct link for each courtroom. So if somebody is on, they have a Zoom case, they can just go to the website and click on the link and it takes them right there. We've actually had people come into our office and ask for help setting up Zoom, figuring it out. And we work with the individuals, and then they walk out of our office and they go elsewhere to do the Zoom hearing.
Awesome, awesome. So we'll do the next question with Lori answering first, and this one's an easy one. What do you specifically bring to the table that would benefit the circuit clerk's office?
Well, I bring my experience. There's no doubt, having 25 years at the courthouse, I have the experience, not only of just the clerk's office, but I have experience with leadership. I've been leading an office for over 15 years. So that's what I bring to the table, is my knowledge, my leadership, and my experience.
Thank you. And Rukisha, same question. What do you specifically bring to the table that would benefit the circuit clerk's office?
Well, what I bring to the circuit clerk office also is leadership, is transparency, integrity, diversity. Those are my things. My clerk's office is run efficiently and fairly for the community and the residents of DeKalb County.
All right, thank you, ladies. And we've blown through our questions. Before we do our closing statements, I just want to invite you both, if there is a topic that we've not touched on, I want to invite you both to touch on that topic. So we'll do Rukisha first, if there's anything else that you want to add.
Well, I just add that I enjoy serving my community as an advocate first and educator second. I enjoy working with the residents in the community, and being on the county board has given me a lot of experience to know what it takes to be a leader. And running for the circuit's office is something that is passion for me, to be a change of leadership and politics. and to commit to serving my residents, and work close to judges and the clerk's office as well is one of my passions, and just to build relationships.
Thank you. And Lori, same question. If there's anything else that we didn't touch on that you'd like to touch on, you may do so now.
I believe you've touched on everything that I can think of. Again, just the experience and the leadership that I bring to the table, and the relationships that I've built. I've spent all of my career at the courthouse building these relationships with not just judges, but the attorneys outside of the courthouse, the different departments within the courthouse, and the users of the court. I've learned over the years how to work with people, the self-represented litigants. I've seen an increase in self-represented litigants, and you have to spend time working with them. There's a fine line between legal advice and procedural advice. So that's what I bring to the table.
Thank you. And we'll now do our closing statements. So this is just another opportunity to invite you guys to tell the voters, about yourself, why they should vote for you. And we'll do Lori first.
Okay, thank you. I'll be brief. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak tonight. I am ready with the support of the amazing staff at the Circuit Clerk's office to become the next Circuit Clerk for DeKalb County. Again, my goal is to continue to focus on public service, transparency, and access to the courts for all who use the courts. I will also focus on continuing the use of technology to better the clerk's office. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. And Rukisha, closing statements for you?
Again, thank you for the opportunity to have this interview to show and tell my reason for running. As an advocate, educator, and leader in the DeKalb County community, I'm committed to serving the public by creating an atmosphere of diverse, transparent, an atmosphere of diversity, integrity, transparency. My goal is to work closely with the judge, probation officers, and staff to ensure they have an efficient, fair courts experience for everyone in DeKalb County. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you both. And I'm going to attempt to turn my video back on to do our little closing that we always do. Give me 1 second. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who will see this, our viewers. Thank you to Lori. Thank you to Rukisha. Just a reminder that the election is November 3rd. Early voting actually has already begun in DeKalb County. It began last Thursday, and that includes mail-in ballot. So if you requested a mail-in ballot, Thursday would have been the first day that those mailers would be sent out. If you would like to early vote in person, the only location open thus far is the Legislative Center in Sycamore. But on October 19th, there will be additional early voting in-person locations that will open in Sandwich on NIU campus in DeKalb Township. And we also encourage everybody to look at our Daily Chronicle website, www.daily-chronicle.com. That on that website at the Election Central page, which you can click on the yellow banner on the top of the website, you can read all about the candidates on the ballot, not just the ones that we see here today. And we thank everybody for joining us.